Freedom fighters, I'm coming at you with a breaking news episode. Well, it's not really breaking anymore. By the time I get this thing uploaded, it'll probably be Wednesday night or sometime Wednesday afternoon. You already know President Trump is predicted to win the presidency, or beyond predicted, he is President elect Donald Trump. And if you're new here and you're not sure what I do, I cover news, political, you know, ideologies, and current events. I do a little side stuff too. Do some cooking and camping, do a little travel vlog, gear reviews, all the cool stuff. So if you are new here, like, share, subscribe. That'll greatly help. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to be talking about today. This whole election thing, all that. And I've always said before, when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. And I was wrong. I called this for Harris. I thought Harris was going to win this. And they were, the fix was in, basically. And I did have some information. If you follow my, Truth Social or Twitter, X, even I think I did a YouTube community post that I had, some inside information that was pointing towards Trump, winning, pretty astoundingly, because people were talking about, like, we know he's going in. I think they read or were taking tally of the early voting and stuff and said this isn't looking good. If he's winning early voting, then it's a sign when, it's actually time to vote, he was going to win. But, yeah, I mean, my general consensus with the whole election was that if Kamala Harris won the election, the deep state, the globalists, were ready to make their final move. If she won, it would have signaled to me that they were ready to do the final destruction of America and go all out, round us up, put us in camps, do the whole thing that we know it's still coming. Maybe we'll get to that. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, and then Trump winning either puts a stall in that, and my fear is that he could still be, controlled opposition, that he's being used to kick the can down the road so they can do all that stuff later and install, their real puppet when they're ready. I just did a video about military tech and all this tech that they're making, and that, they're trying to get this AI together, and they're building robots and all this stuff so they can eventually just send out a clone army to collect all their dissidents and all the people, that they hate. So maybe they're kicking the can down the road for that. And, I posted a driving meme earlier today, or I posted it today, I think, on X, but I did it last night on YouTube and Truth. But it said voting is the illusion. It's the adult version of the illusion to give you, to think you're in control. And it's just like handing, little Timmy the play pretend wheel in the car and say, okay, take the wheel, Timmy. You're driving. You're doing it, buddy. You're driving the car. And now you got a whole bunch of Trump voters thinking, we did it. And right, the elections are legit, right? Now they're thinking, the voting really worked. Because people were ready to blow. And I've talked about 2016 over and over and over, that, the feeling in the air around that time was, if Clinton gets in, we're going to war. And a civil war was inevitable. And you talk to people, at the gun range or at the gun shows or whatever, and people were like ready to go. And people were talking about it openly. And you were seeing that and hearing that again. I mean, there's plenty of channels I watch on here that are like, moderate, conservative channels that, are just regular people. And they were often talking about, like, look, if Kamala Harris gets in, it's over and something has to be done. I was watching just one the other night of this guy. He's on a channel called Yankee Stacking, which is like a coin channel, but it's he runs a coin shop. His name's like Tim Kirshner or something like that. I can't remember, but you can find the videos. But he's a pretty moderate, guy. Just an old, dude with like middle of the road conservative values. And he was like, if Harris gets in, we don't make it a full 4 years without a revolution. Which was, and it's just, you hear that from those kind of people, and you realize, like, people are ready to go. But then Trump got in, and, all the patriots went to sleep, and everyone that was talking about taking, violent actions and talking about, if Clinton gets in here, we're doing something, all of a sudden we're like, threw their hands up in the air, we won. It's over. We're gonna make America great again, and that's it. So that's where we were, and it's like they all went to sleep. And I made a joke last night. It's like we can all sleep now, right? Like it's all over with. And I used to have this toy when I was a kid. It was a Winnie the Pooh bear, and it actually had like a little voice box thing, and it said, "Let's sleep now." And I make that joke all the time, like when I come home, or you have a big meal or something like Thanksgiving, or something like that, and it's like, man, you're just tired. I joke about let's sleep now. But it's like, yeah, that's where, are we all going to do that same thing? And civil war is still inevitable. I don't forget that, folks. Like, I see a lot of people celebrating, taking that victory lap, and I understand that. You have MTG talking about Georgia is a red state and all this, and celebrating. I can't remember the exact numbers. The last time I saw it, it was like 1.8, 1 point versus like 1.6 million, I think. I can't remember how many were in, but Pennsylvania, I think, was like 95% in or something, and it was like 3.6 million to 3.4 million. I mean, it's almost half. Like, the woke ain't gonna go away. You are still gonna have to fight these people. Like, it's not going away. They've been talking a game today. A lot of these channels are talking about, I saw earlier this morning they had people on Morning Joe and stuff, and what's her name? Joy Reid or whatever was on there, and a bunch of these hacks were talking about, the progressive era is dead. They were like, it's over with. And, you have these areas like Seattle and stuff like that didn't go Trump, but a lot of people did. New York, the Bronx, which are, giant. I think they said Biden won the Bronx by like 70%, and then Harris only won it by like 50%. So even though it's still a blowout, right? The Democrats own it, but that gap, 20% of people didn't come out for Harris, which is supposed to be the first black female president. They weren't buying it. And, a lot of people weren't buying it because they're fed up. And, those demographics that they constantly harp on, the blacks in the Bronx and stuff like that. You saw that big rally that Trump had there, and they were like, oh, don't worry about it. He can't win the Bronx, and these people aren't really Trump supporters. No, and you heard from them. They're fed up. And, that demographic, I don't know why they try to push all this woke shit on them, because they're not having that. The culture, the gangster, subculture of trying to like act hard and all this stuff. They don't want these freaking fairies running around and being told that, they have to use they, them. And, they were talking about uh, the transgender commercial, that ad that ran over and over. And they had Simone Sanders and, Joy Reid and all them. And I can't even stand, what they're talking about. Those are two premium dumbass bitches right there. But yeah, she was on there talking about, well, what are we supposed to do? Not support our LGBTQ? It's like people are just done with the insanity. You expect sane people to sit there and you're like, oh no, this 6 foot, bulk ass man with a beard is a woman, and you have to, bend the will, slave, and accept the insanity. And people aren't accepting it. And then they were talking about, Hispanics. Again, they're like 45% of Hispanics, voted for this. And, especially in New York, again, immigration has taken over those communities and they're fed up. And the Democrats didn't realize this. They didn't realize, like, the whole country's going to shit and everyone's fed up with it. So the wokeness is coming in, but they're not going away. Believe me, they're not going away. All these companies, and like when you go to work and your coworkers or your business upper management, they're still going to be pushing the wokeness. Your kids' schools, I mean, you got to fight against it. The time is now. We have to put it to an end. But yeah, right now I know is the victory lap, and it's, we won, yay, and it's time to hold his feet to the fire. We're about to find out, if he's the real deal, and the Republicans, if they're just controlled opposition. And sadly, I think we know the answer. I am not holding out much hope. I don't expect much, but I can't, man, I can't lie. I still have that inkling of hope. I'm pretty black pilled, but I still have that little bitty percentage where I'm holding out hope. All my hope and faith now is in Jesus Christ. Of course, you know that, but I'm hoping that something can happen. But we got the presidency, the Senate, and as of right now, I haven't heard if the House is locked down or not, but it's looking pretty good. And Trump's going to be able to pick whoever he wants. He's going to get his cabinet. They're all going to get approved. He's going to get his team. The people he wants again. And remember the best and brightest. And how he ended up having a bunch of swamp monsters around him last time. He needs to be very careful and pick the right people. And, I've been talking to, friends and different stuff about that. And a lot of my friends are older. I mean, I got people my age, but, I'm like friends with their dad or, Uncle Jimbo and their friends and all that. So a lot of my friends are older and they're talking about, the geopolitics and stuff like that. And the economy is a big one. We'll definitely talk about that one later. But before we worry about the rest of the world and all this stuff, we need to clean our own house. And all this stuff that Trump said, that you remember that tweet where he was like, we're going to hold these people accountable for the election fraud and what they've done to our country, and we're going to make arrests and all this stuff. It needs to happen. You need to dismantle the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, defund the IRS. I mean, not defund, dismantle. Reorganize the military, drain the swamp. Like the promise was first made. It needs to happen this time. And eradicate the scum or else you will leave behind a legacy of failure. If you end these 4 years and allow them to stall you with impeachments or whatever, they can't even impeach you right now. They literally cannot do anything. I don't want to hear any excuses from Trump or the Republicans or House, Senate, or we can't do this. Yeah, you have the Supreme Court on your side. You have everything. That red wave everyone was always talking about, it's here. Make it happen or forever lose your country, and that civil war will still be, right around the corner. If you do not end it now, the enemy will just reemerge, like a under the skin, pimple. The head will reemerge, and they'll come right back, and ultimately, you know, push forward what they really want. Yeah, I mean, take the win for what it is, man. I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm not a little bit giddy and I'm a little happy. I know most things, probably won't change, and the economy, like I said, that's the best news of all. Things are looking good, and I've been picking up some extra work. I'm trying to, start up my own business and do stuff. I've been dealing with that. I've been noticing it's kind of hard. People been holding back. They don't want to spend money. It looks like money's going to start flowing again. So that's a good thing, man. And take this time, if anything, right? If nothing happens and he doesn't do any of it, take this time to make some money and, make some moves and take advantage of the economy. A lot of crazy stuff going on, man. And we haven't heard anything from Harris. She hasn't conceded yet. I haven't heard anything from like Biden or any of these other Clinton, Obama. I'm waiting to hear statements. I mean, most of the, CNN and MSNBCs and all these channels are conceding, that Harris lost and all this, but I haven't seen, the main people come out and say anything. And like we predicted before, man, these next 2 months up to January 6th are going to be, pretty big. And what are they concocting? And the scenario we ran through before of Harris is going to have to certify this election and hand it over to Donald Trump. Jamie Raskin saying that they were going to pull the 14th Amendment and call him an insurrectionist. All these scenarios and prepare for civil war like conditions. And then they were talking about, his arrest case and all this stuff. Are they going to try to push that through and have him arrested before times? I mean, who knows what could possibly, be trying to go down. But it's pretty much over unless they make a move quick. I mean, Harris is done. Biden is done. I mean, he's going to go down. Their legacy is just the worst presidencies and vice president of all time. They won't be elected dog catcher. They're going to be looked at as complete, failures. Like I said, Harris is in complete embarrassment. She doesn't even want to come out. She's already embarrassed for the first part. Like, I had to take over this train wreck, after that first debate where they were literally like, oh, okay, no, this guy's clearly got dementia. He's completely out of his mind. And this is this puppet we've been holding up for the last 4 years. We have to do something. And then they put her in there, who literally got no votes, was the first to drop out in the primary against, Joe Biden and all that. And nobody liked her. But, they still ran the campaign anyway. You got all this stuff, so they're going to be the laughing stock of the Democratic Party, and they're going to change up, but ultimately they're going to push their goal. Like I said, if Trump and the Republicans truly are now just controlled opposition, they're just going to kick the can down the road. The globalists and the, whatever you want to call them, right? I just want to call them globalism right now and not get into the weeds of conspiracies and call them Illuminatis or whatever. But the globalists are going to be planning their takeover, and guarantee you they're planning something. And down the road, they're going to bring you, if we do not dismantle the FBI and, like I said, redo the military and all these organizations, they are going to bring in a Oprah or a Michelle Obama in 2028. And maybe they don't even get it in 28. Maybe they're looking, at 32 or whatever in the future. But that is their plan down the road. And if we don't end it now and don't course correct and fix this problem, we are headed for that, inevitability of a war on American soil and us having to fix this country a different way, which we hope doesn't happen and hope it doesn't have to come to it. We hope that this is, the final nail in the coffin and we can turn this thing around. But anyway, man, let me know what you guys think. Until the next one, you know what it is, man. Things might be looking a little better, but nobody's coming to save us. We are on our own, and only God can save you. So get right with God. Freedom Fighters out.